Hello again. I don't know if you joined me from switching over, but I've closed the one that I was doing on the iPad. The streaming on the phone, the readings that I was getting is that the uploading from me to you has been working consistently well, and the downloading has been terrible. So I'm going to try it like this, and we'll run the experiment and find out, and we'll see if this tells me that this is or is not working, or rather it will tell me that it's not working. The other one is still not finished uploading. I don't know what else to do other than turn the whole thing off. I'm just going to start this whole thing over here, the section that we're doing tonight. When one begins to explore the inner world, he realizes that the world within is larger than the world outside. One's outside world is actually very small, but when he closes his eyes, he can travel in his inner world to the sun, the moon, the stars. One can travel anywhere mentally, and he doesn't need anyone's help. He can create a great world within himself, and it can have many levels. First of all, one comes in touch with the world of his own thoughts. But from where do those thoughts arise? It is like standing by the side of a lake and throwing a pebble into the water. That pebble will create many ripples, and after it has gone down to the bottom of the lake, it will create bubbles. These bubbles will come up again and make more ripples. In the external world, a sensation is just like a pebble in the lake of the mind. It leaves an impression within our minds and creates many bubbles. When it leaves a permanent impression, we call it a memory. When one is pursuing meditational therapy, he first comes in touch with those memories which are fresh. Then he comes in touch with those memories which are old, and then he comes in touch with those formless memories which are sleeping within, which he has not been aware of until this time. That's the part that I wanted to read over to you again, because it's so dense in very simple language, but extremely important, because it's one of the things that most of us find difficult in the process of meditation. We think that we're supposed to make progress, and all of a sudden here comes old stuff, and we can get sort of upset with ourselves over it. When one is pursuing meditational therapy, he first comes in touch with those memories which are fresh, daily relationships and work and all of that. Then he comes in touch with those memories which are old, earlier in life and childhood and all that. And then he comes in touch with those formless memories which are sleeping within, which he has not been aware of until this time. Facts without forms cannot be remembered unless one comes in touch with that part of the mind which is called the hidden mind. Facts without forms. Wonderful terminology.
Hello.
Oops, wait a minute. Now the thing played back to me. Facts without forms cannot be remembered unless one comes in touch with that part of the mind which is called the hidden mind, and when one comes in touch with that, it leads the way. It does lead the way, but when we come in touch with that is one of the places where we can discover formless fears. We can discover formless angers, frustrations. We feel some intense emotions sometimes, but we have no idea why. And if that happens, it's probably because it has long ago lost the particular reasons. Here's an example. Let's say over many years of living, you've gotten irritated 1,000 times. And after a while, after all those years, there can be some just free-floating irritation in the latent unconscious in the form of samskaras that is long ago lost any particular relationship to those 1,000 experiences, and now it's just there, and it's formless, and we come in touch with it. When one experiences this, it is like the fog rolling back from the world and into the ocean. If we're patient with it and practice as best we can non-attachment, recognizing, look, this is just old fog rolling back, and it's okay. An unborn chicken which remains inside the shell can never imagine what is outside. But when the shell is broken, the whole situation changes. One should learn to break that shell that he has created around himself, for creating boundaries contracts the personality. How does one realize that fact, that reality which is beyond names and forms? When one's mind is prepared for it, then he will start treading the path of spirituality and start enlightening himself. This comes through one's direct experience from within. It is not a creation. It is not an attainment. How do we know what enlightenment is? We know because the great people who were born just like us, whose mothers were just like our mother, who walked on the earth, who were human beings, but who had enlightenment, told us what it is and how to reach it. Human beings do not understand that they are complete. They doubt their own existence, but they want to believe in the existence of something which they have not realized, felt, or seen. They should learn to believe, appreciate, and admire their own existence first. The existence is what they're believing, appreciating, and admiring, not their egos. That is what proves the reality of the existence of the Lord. We are each part of eternity. If God is omnipresent, then He is within us too. And remember here again, as is often his habit, is using words like God and He in sort of a poetic, symbolic way, not literally that we're talking about, a Superman in the sky. Hi, Rob. The day we come to know that all these boundaries are created by self-ignorance, absent-mindedness, and selfishness is the day we can break them and just be enlightened. My master used to say, this is Swami Rama speaking, my master used to say, you are already God, so don't try to know God. That godly part is already there in you. All you have to do is become fully human. That is your part to play, to be a good human being so that the reality called God can flow spontaneously. Human beings act abnormally and try to get enlightenment without understanding what it is. The greatest misery is that each of us appreciating existence opposed to just ego. Thank you, Viviana, for seeing that. It has to do with existence itself. And there's a shortcut little tip in there for all of us. Sometimes it can be very hard to believe, the way that I'm suffering in this world. It can be very hard to believe that I'm perfect, that I'm Atman, that I'm divine. It just doesn't seem like that. but can you grasp the idea, the notion that there is existence? There's something here that's very subtle that is existence itself. And if you can get your mind to hold on to that, just remember that. Seek to know the existence. If you say seek to know God or truth or Atman or divine, it may seem to the mind and the ego structure that that's kind of out of reach or very much out of reach. But think existence itself. Like space. Space is a good example. Space itself. It doesn't matter whether it's space in the jar or space in the room or space outside of our planet, whatever it is, but space itself. Try to hold the notion of space. Similarly, try to hold the notion of existence itself. It's very, very helpful. The greatest misery is that each of us has a home but has forgotten the way to get there. One does not identify himself with the reality of God within. He only identifies himself with that which seems to be convenient, which seems to comfort momentarily. But after going through many experiences in life, one comes to know that although he has a body, he is something far beyond it. Enlightenment is an expansion of consciousness. When one becomes enlightened, he becomes aware of something more than himself, of something more than his own interest. The more he becomes aware of others, the closer he comes to the center where he finds that all diversities have an underlying unity. The diversities are only superficial layers of the one unity. There are many ornaments, but there is only one great goal. There are many waves, but there is only one water. All human beings are different, but they all inhale and exhale the same life force. No matter what religion one comes from, there is only one proprietor of all the different beings. When one considers this reality for some time, one starts thinking, starts understanding, starts becoming aware of the truth. Starts is pretty good. If one wants God to reveal himself, he will. But first one has to create the proper conditions. If you were to go to the powerhouse with a light bulb in your hand and ask, "Will you please light my bulb?" they could not do it. The power outlet is on your own house. The power outlet is on your own house. This is where you have the switch and all the fittings. So why do you need power from outside when it is already there inside you? The powerhouse is within you. It is ready to give you power, but only when you have all the proper fittings. You are shouting, "Oh powerhouse, please come to me." But it is already there. All you need are a few of the fittings. When you have truly understood yourself, you are one with the source of peace, bliss, and perennial happiness within. One with the source of peace, bliss, and perennial happiness within. You've not attained it, you're one with the source of that. You have reached that state which is called enlightenment, and when you have done this, you become an instrument which can be played by the source within. When you play the guitar, you have to tune it first, and that is a painful thing for the guitar. If you really want to be enlightened, be prepared for this. All the parts of your body will have to be properly twisted and tuned, because he wants to play, she wants to play. symbols. You cannot be selfish. If you are selfish and resist, you will break. You are exactly like a guitar which is being played. If you just let yourself become a willing instrument, there will be no problem. And that's the end of our journey through this. And this is the idea, this ultimately, the degree to which we can touch that eternal existence or have even the slightest glimpses of it, is a tremendous key to health, to mental health, emotional health, and physical health. And so again, this is the journey that he's taken us on through this text, starting out by describing what he means by holistic health through the eyes of yoga, traditional yoga. Cleansing, nourishing food, exercise, both postural yoga and aerobics, and being still at the levels of body and breath and mind, and then emotions, and finally the last section was on self-training. This is all, Rob, from Swami Rama's text, A Practical Guide to Holistic Health. That's what we've been going through here. And we'll do something else tomorrow night to have fun and get in trouble and like that. And you may have noticed I put in the Facebook group, I put a page there because in a PDF file. What I was noticing that when I put those announcements of activities, each one of them is pretty big on the screen, and when I sit there and put 10 or 12 of them up all at once, all of a sudden it just blocks out the whole page, and you have to scroll down to look at other conversations. You have to scroll down, for example, to look at the daily goals and daily internal dialogues that Leela is posting there for us. And it wasn't intentional, but it keeps blocking out everything that else we're doing in the group. So I thought, I think there's got to be a better way to, and so what I did is I created, I know that this doesn't work too well because it reverses things on there, but I created one page and it's in a PDF file, and then I can copy and paste like a day at a time, and on the file I've got, as a reminder, I've got the link information for the meetings. There's a link you click on or go to and log in, and we're together. All of these other videos are just streaming, as you know, in the Ashram Satsang group. And so I decided, and again, anyway, I decided to do this rather than loading up the group site with all of those announcements. And so I hope that that's useful. So, and at the top of the Facebook group, you'll notice, I don't remember what the other things are up there, but one of the click on things up there says Files, F-I-L-E-S. And there's some pretty interesting stuff there, and I've put this in there. And if I change it and update, like on there, we're about to finish Sacred Journey on Monday, so, or I think it's on Monday. Yeah, on Monday at 10 o'clock we're doing Sacred Journey. When we change that to the next book, I'll change that and update this page that's on the site there. And so anyway, that's it. And this, seems to be, put some notes if you would in the comments after I end this. Did this last batch here that we went through, did this video work well for you, or were there breaks? And this was streamed out of the iPhone. Now the iPhone, as I was telling you, my download speed is terrible on this. I have no idea why that's the case. But the upload is good, and it seems to be reliable, more so than when I did the iPad. And the iPad is the one I was using earlier this evening, and it just kept breaking up and breaking up. This video has been very good. Thank you, Rob. Great streaming. Okay. Thank you, Nellie. And so this is telling me this stream was seamless. Thank you, Viviana. Very clear comment. And so no problem, says Rob. All righty. So the lesson here is that I will continue to do the streaming videos that we're doing using this iPhone, and just accept the fact, I suppose, that to not try to use it for downloading. The downloading that we're getting, the downloading now that we're getting off of the computers in the office that are hooked up with an Ethernet cable, the downloading is now 50 or 60 megabits per second, which is, it's very fast. And on this iPhone, it's down around 1 or 2 megabits per second, very slow. The uploading, when I test it on this iPhone, is up around 10 to 15 megabits per second, which is pretty fast and quite good enough for what we're doing. Anyway, so that's our saga. It has been going on for a couple of weeks. I've been struggling with this, and I think now we're finally there. And thank you for your help tonight, everybody, and the feedback. So now we know I'll use this instrument for doing this and use the other for I don't know what. I have noticed that this is a wonderful surprise. Yeah, we're doing this every night, Rob, at 9:30. As you know, we do meditation, and end of day we do some mantras and meditation in the ashram. Matri and Rojo's here a lot, and Joe, a different Joe, is here with us. It's not the Joe in Australia who's with us right now. There's another Joe. He's often here in the evening. He was with us this evening and left before we did this. And there's a few other people who drift through here sometimes at night. And Raj has been visiting us a lot lately, like once a month, and a couple other people. So at the end, we do that at 9 o'clock, and so this is at 9:30. And you may have noticed that I've added onto this schedule. I did not put out any one of those formal announcements. This, it's kind of fun, it's playful, and it helps me focus my mind on what we're doing. It's reflections, and it's evening, so I'm calling it Evening Reflections. I'm not trying to be a marketing person and create hype. I don't mean it like that, but it's the way that I'm sort of thinking in mind and heart about what we're doing, and trying to focus on some highlights of some good stuff. And it will not always be going through a book. I thought of this going through the Holistic Health book because I had not been through it myself in quite some time, and I was curious to go through it myself, and I thought some of you might enjoy it, so that's what we did. But some of the other times we'll do other little short things. And the one in the morning is, you know, we have mantras and meditation starting at 6 o'clock in the morning. Usually I'm up walking about 5 or 5:30, walk a mile, and then we come and do mantras and meditation. And then my usual task is to go start a pot of oatmeal for whoever's here. And so I've timed this so that if I do it well, I can put the oatmeal on to cook on low heat and then come visit you for morning awakenings. And some of that will be triggered by, you know, something that I'm looking at or one of the books. But a lot of it, I find that in the morning, often something I ponder with this stuff constantly. I'm sort of always contemplating, and so I just, some of those will just be short little reflections. Morning awakenings. So we have evening reflections at the end of the day and morning awakenings. And I'm not exactly sure what those are going to be. And then I'll do other videos on other readings. You may have noticed I put some of those in some of the Swami Rama stuff inside of the Swami Rama Teachings group. And I will do some stuff with some other admired texts and teachers and put it in the Yoga the Traditional Way group and like that. So anyway, just a little update there. So thank you for playing this evening, and it's always nice to hang out. So I should have stopped a few minutes ago, but here we are. And so thank you again for playing, Have a wonderful day, Joe. Joe's afternoon now, and Rob and Viviana and Nellie's starting her day, and the rest of us are ending our day with a meditation and some rest time. So thank you for playing, and remember Om. Om is where it is. Om is the happening thing. Om is what it's all about. Also known as Om Tat Sat. Om Tat Sat. Bye-bye. Good night. Bye-bye.